It's not loving to me to be jealous of what somebody else has in their relationship and expect you to provide that same thing for me. That's not love. That's selfishness. That's pride. And it often comes when we compare. And so if I want to stop playing the comparison game, I have to actually stop comparing. The problem comes in when I consistently compare my family dynamic or my marriage or my friendships to someone else's, and I'm constantly disappointed in mine. That becomes a problem. And I can start to want and maybe even expect to have whatever it is that they have. And if I'm in this relationship with you and I'm comparing us to them, I want you to want that as much as I do. And when you don't, well, that gets frustrating for me. Or if I get the sense that you're not on the same page with me and wanting what they have as bad as what I want, then I want to start manipulating things. I want to start saying certain things or becoming more critical or giving you guilt trips to try to get whatever it is that I want. And I start saying things like, well, why can't you be more like him? Why don't you treat me the way that she treats him? The last guy I dated wasn't like this. Their family does such and such so much better than ours does. We start to compare and we start to get critical. And I think that we should be more like them. And I want that. And so I treat you in a very negative, very critical way in order to get us to be like them. And if we can be like them, then I win. That's the comparison game. And a lot of us play it on a regular basis. And if you are sitting there going, okay, I kind of do that, and I don't even know why I do that sometimes. I don't even know why that's an issue for me. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why we compare ourselves and allow that comparison to start having a negative impact in our lives. And for some of us, it's our own lack of self-worth. I just don't feel very good about myself. And maybe that's a lifelong thing, or maybe that's something more recent, but I compare myself to other people, and I think just other people in general are just better than me. I don't feel like I have this sense that I just don't measure up, or that I'm just not successful enough, or whatever the standard is that I set for myself or that I see in others, I'm not fulfilling that. And so when I see someone else having a healthy relationship and it feels like I don't have or we don't have what they have, that just triggers those feelings of not measuring up. That just reinforces that thought that I'm just not good enough. I'm not good enough and we're not good enough. And so I either try to make you feel bad too. I try to blame you and say it's your fault that I don't feel good about us. I try to get you to agree with me that this should look different than what it is. And ultimately, it's all about me. I want to feel better about myself. So I'm going to get on to you about making us look like them so that I'll feel better about me. That lack of self-worth, that lack of thinking that I measure up can cause me to compare. Sometimes it's just my own past experiences. Maybe I've had a really good relationship, a really good connection with somebody else, and this doesn't seem to measure up to that. Or maybe I've had some really negative experiences in the past, and whatever is going on between us starts to feel like we're creeping in that direction. And so whatever it is that's happened in the past, I'm comparing us now to what I've had in the past. Maybe sometimes it's just unmet expectations. I have decided what a healthy relationship looks like, what a healthy connection looks like. Or I have decided that whatever I see in these other people, that's what I expect from us. And we're not meeting that expectation. And maybe I had a picture in mind of what it was going to look like when we got married. Or I knew what our family was going to look like, what our family dynamic was going to be. Or maybe we're just not as close of friends as I thought we were going to be, or spending the same kind of time that I thought we were going to spend. And especially when I look around and see other people who seem to have, a more positive, at least on the surface, a more positive marriage, a better friendship, a better family dynamic than me. It's like watching somebody else living my dream. Somebody else is meeting my expectations, but not you. And I may never have even told you what my expectations are. But I'm disappointed in you anyway. Because we are not meeting what I had in my mind that we would be. We have these unmet expectations. Maybe it just boils down, and honestly, this is probably the biggest culprit. It boils down to just simple envy. Just jealousy. I look at what somebody else has and I want it for myself. It looks good. I like it better. I'm convinced that I deserve it. I just want it. And whatever that is, that can be a dangerous thing for me. And especially when it comes to relationships. I see what somebody else has, or at least what I perceive that they have in their relationship, and I just want that for me. And because I'm comparing us, and because I feel like we don't have what they have and I want what they have, then I got to figure out how to get you to start being, and us to start being like them, because I'm jealous. And there could be a variety of other reasons too. These are some of the more common things that cause us to compare ourselves, especially to compare our relationships, to those of other people. So what ends up happening? Well, I get dissatisfied. I get frustrated. I become dissatisfied with this relationship. I don't like dating this person anymore. I get frustrated with our marriage. I get angry at my kids. I get frustrated with my parents. I want to be friends with this person anymore. Why? Because they're not measuring up to the standard that I have in my mind. They're not measuring up to what I'm comparing us to. And maybe, as we're in this relationship together, maybe you don't want the same things that I do. Maybe you don't want this relationship to look like them or look like whatever it is that I've conjured up in my mind. And we don't talk through that. We don't talk about that. You just have your expectation. I have mine, or I'm comparing us to somebody else. And if you don't have the same mindset that I do, well, then I can't win. I want you to think like me, and I want us to be like them. And when we're not, man, I just get frustrated and think I don't want to be a part of this relationship anymore. The comparison game breeds criticism. It breeds negativity. I become more negative, more judgmental, and more critical about how you do things or how you don't do things, about the things you say or the things you don't say. And that becomes a habit. The more that I do that, and the more that I focus on the flaws and the mistakes and the faults and the things that I don't like, the things that I think are keeping us from being like these other people that I see seem to have a better relationship than us, the more critical I become, the more negative I become, where I almost get to the point where I can't see anything good in us. I don't see anything good in you, because all I can focus on is how we're falling short and how you're not measuring up, which means we are not them. You don't feel honored. You don't feel appreciated. You don't feel loved. And in a way, I don't really care, because all I'm focusing on is criticizing the things that I don't like and that I don't appreciate. Comparison game in marriages often leads to affairs. I don't like this marriage relationship. I like this person over here, and so I'm going to start heading this direction. And even if it doesn't lead to a sexual affair, there's an emotional affair that can take place. That I become more connected and share more even intimate things with this other person that I'm not even married to, more so than my own spouse. Why? Because when I compare the two, I connect with this person better. The comparison game leads to more resentment. I just hold on to anger. I build up resentment towards you because you're not doing what I think you should. And even if you point out my faults and the things that I'm not doing or that I'm doing wrong that are keeping us from being more like them, well, you're just seeing things all wrong because you're the one to blame. And I become more resentful of you, and you become more resentful of me because of all the criticism and all the negativity. And a lot of times, as we said last week, what ends up happening in these games we play, we lose. We lose trust. We lose intimacy. We lose connection. We may even lose the relationship altogether. That friendship comes to an end. Who wants to be a friend to somebody who is constantly critical and constantly comparing our friendship to somebody else? That dating relationship is over with. Why? I don't want to date this person because I never feel like I can measure up. Kids become much more distant from their parents. Parents become much more resentful of their kids. Why? Because they're not like other families. Marriages come to an end. Because I can't be who you want me to be, and we are not them, and you're never going to be happy until we are, so you know what? I'm done. And the more we play the comparison game, the more damage we actually do. So, what do? How do I combat this? How do I keep from allowing comparison and the comparison game to be the thing that destroys this relationship? Well, first thing I got to do is actually stop comparing. And I know that sounds really simple, and it's a whole lot easier said than done, but it is a conscious decision. It is a conscious choice. I am going to stop comparing us with them. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to stop holding on to that comparison. I'm going to make a choice every single day that I'm not going to constantly see how we're measuring up to everybody else. When Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 gives a description of what love is, and he has all these different traits, and this is what love looks like, and this is what love in action is like. And when you see these traits on display, you know that person is showing love. And one of the things that he says, he's describing those different traits of love. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4, he says, love does not envy. Because if I'm envious of you, if I'm jealous of what you have or what you're accomplishing, it becomes very difficult for me to love you. I can't care enough about you to want to sacrificially meet your needs, to let go of the things that I want to do so that I can do something to bless you and to make your life better, which is what the core of love is all about. I can't do that for you if I'm constantly jealous of you. It just doesn't work. That's not love. And the same thing is true in our relationships. It's hard for us to have love for each other if I'm constantly jealous and envious of someone else and wanting you to be jealous of them too. It's not loving to me to be jealous of what somebody else has in their relationship and expect you to provide that same thing for me. That's not love. That's selfishness. That's pride. And it often comes when we compare. And so if I want to stop playing the comparison game, I have to actually stop comparing.